welcome to God's 5 Minutes with Pastor Ed Wilson. Reach him at gods5minutes@gmail.com. Now, here's Ed Wilson with God's 5 Minutes.
Hello, friends. King Solomon, as a wise statesman bent on bringing the greatest possible peace and prosperity to his people, offered this advice in Proverbs 4:11. I have taught thee the way of wisdom. I have led thee in right paths. When thou goest, thy steps shall not be straitened, and when thou runnest, thou shalt not stumble. Take fast hold of instruction. Let her not go. Keep her, for she is thy life. The old metaphor comparing life to a path has a lot to say for it. It suggests constant change. It suggests continuous progress in one direction, and that all our days are linked together and are not isolated fragments. And it suggests an aim and an end. So we find it perpetually in this book of Proverbs. Here the way has specific designation, the way of wisdom. When thou goest, that is a monotonous tramp, tramp, tramp of slow walking along the path of an uneventful daily life, the humdrum one foot up and another foot down, which makes up most of our days. When thou runnest, well, that points to the crises, the sudden spurts, the brief bursts of more than usual energy and effort and difficulty. And about both of them, the humdrum and the exciting, the monotonous and the startling, the promise comes that if we walk in the paths of wisdom, we shall not get bored with the one, and we shall not be overwhelmed by the other. When thou walkest, thy steps shall not be straitened. When thou runnest, thou shalt not stumble. The most important thing about this promise to us is the conditions, which alone make it real. For there rises up out of these early chapters of the book of Proverbs that august and serene figure of the queenly wisdom. This means more than Solomon saw for all his insight. To us it means Christ, the power of God and the wisdom of God. And so instead of keeping ourselves merely to the word of the book of Proverbs, we must grasp the thing that shines through the word and understand that the writer's visions can only become realities when the serene and august wisdom that he saw shimmering through the darkness took to itself a human form, and the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. With that heightening of the meaning of the phrase, a path of wisdom, assumes a heightened meaning too, for it is a path of the personal wisdom, the incarnate wisdom, Christ himself. What does it then come to be to obey this command to walk in the way of wisdom? Put it into 3 sentences. Let the Christ, who is not only wise but wisdom, choose your path. Be sure that by the submission of your will of all your paths to his, not only yours, make his path yours by following in his steps. Do in your place what you think Christ would have done if he had been there. Keep company with him on the road. If you did these 3 things, if you will say to him, Lord, when you say go, I'll go. When you call me to come, I'll come. I'm your property, and I rejoice in the bondage more than in all licentious liberty. And what you tell me to do, I do. Then, and only then, will you find the graciousness of this promise fulfilled in your life? With these 3 things in place, submission of will, conformity of conduct, closeness of companionship, it's time to look for the blessings this text promises, and first at the promise of long, uneventful stretches in our daily life. When thou walkest, for many miles there comes nothing exciting, nothing to break the plod, plod, plod along the road. Well, imagine that same monotony with Jesus, as on the Emmaus road as companion. He who made all the butterflies and acorns lying on the ground along the path will take delight in teaching us the beauties and pitfalls of daily life, will sweeten the very air with the perfume of his presence. Nor will we feel we have missed so much of life. We'll find the restrictions that so seem to the unsaved to straighten the path bring joy to us. We go where we want. We do what we please. The secret is that our desires are changed into longing for holy things. And then there are the desperate times when we spurt forward. Maybe it is night. Maybe the road is snow-covered. We need a hand on our shoulder to keep us from stumbling. There is a divine hand that wants to steady and keep us in all our walk of life. Have you talked to him today?
You have been listening to God's 5 Minutes with Pastor Ed Wilson. Reach him by email at godsfiveminutes@gmail.com. Tune in next time to hear more encouraging thoughts from God's Word on God's 5 Minutes with Pastor Ed Wilson.